Marcus Aurelius said the obstacle is the way. But here's the part nobody quotes. The people who put the obstacle in front of you, they saw something in you that your friends were too polite to mention. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to extract intelligence from the people who oppose you, criticize you, or flat out hate you, and use it to become someone they can't touch. Most men are walking around with a completely distorted image of themselves. Their friends tell them what they want to hear. Their family softens the blow. But your enemies? They have no reason to spare your feelings. And if you're too proud to listen, you'll keep making the same mistakes, losing the same battles, and wondering why nothing changes. Your enemies are doing free psychological profiling on you, and you're ignoring the report. Julius Caesar had enemies who warned Rome he was dangerous, power-hungry, unwilling to play by the rules. Caesar dismissed them as political threats. They were right. And his inability to take that feedback seriously, to understand how he actually appeared to others, got him stabbed 23 times on the Senate floor. His friends told him he was beloved. His enemies told him he was feared. Only one of those groups was accurate. Enemies have skin in the game when it comes to understanding your weaknesses. They study you because they need to. A friend who loves you will round up. An enemy who wants to beat you will round down, and that precision is exactly what you need. Carl Jung called this the shadow, the parts of yourself you refuse to see. Your enemies are basically reading your shadow out loud. The question is whether you're listening. Criticism from someone who dislikes you is more reliable data than praise from someone who loves you. Tolstoy's wife Sophia spent decades telling him his later work was self-indulgent and preachy. He ignored her. His literary circle celebrated everything he wrote. History sided with Sophia. The people closest to great men are often the worst judges of their actual output because love distorts the signal. Meanwhile, Tolstoy's harshest critics, the ones who genuinely couldn't stand him, identified exactly the flaws that modern scholars still point to. This is what psychologists call the social desirability bias. People who care about your feelings will unconsciously filter their feedback to protect the relationship. People who don't care about your feelings have no such filter. That's not cruelty, that's clarity. Epictetus taught that you should never wish your circumstances were different, you should wish that you were stronger. Apply that here, don't wish your critics were nicer. Wish you were honest enough to hear them. The things your enemies accuse you of are often the exact qualities they fear in you. Nietzsche was called unstable, arrogant, and dangerous by the academic establishment of his time. He was all three of those things, and those three qualities are precisely why he's still read 130 years later while his critics are footnotes. When the mediocre attack the exceptional, they're not describing a flaw, they're describing a threat. Schopenhauer spent 30 years being dismissed as a pessimist and a crank. He responded by continuing to write, refusing to change his core ideas, and dying with the satisfaction of watching his ideas finally spread. His enemies defined him. He used that definition as a compass. Here's the inversion that changes everything. When someone attacks a quality in you with unusual intensity, ask yourself, is this actually a weakness, or is this a strength that makes them uncomfortable? Machiavelli understood this. He wrote that men attack what they cannot control and cannot become. Your job is to figure out which category you're in. If the criticism is accurate, fix it. If the criticism is envy dressed up as analysis, double down. The man who has no enemies has made no real choices. Think about the men in your life who everyone likes. Genuinely, everyone. No enemies, no critics, no one who has a problem with them. Now ask yourself, what have they actually built? What have they stood for? What have they refused? Kierkegaard wrote that the most common form of despair is not knowing you're in despair, living a life so carefully managed, so conflict avoidant, that you never discover what you actually believe. The man with no enemies is often the man with no convictions. He's optimized for approval instead of impact. Viktor Frankl, who survived the Nazi concentration camps, observed something counterintuitive. The men who maintained their identity under the most brutal opposition were the ones who had already decided what they stood for before the pressure arrived. Opposition clarifies you. It forces a decision, bend or hold. Every time you hold, you become more defined. Every time you bend to avoid conflict, you become less of a person and more of a reflection of whoever's in the room. Your enemies are, in a strange way, the sculptors of your actual character. The Stoic move isn't to destroy your enemies, it's to make them useful. Seneca wrote letters to a friend named Lucilius for years, and over again he returned to one idea: the external world, including the people who oppose you, is raw material. Not an obstacle. Not a threat. Raw material. He himself was exiled, recalled, made the tutor to a future emperor who would eventually order his death. Through all of it, he kept writing. He kept thinking. He used every adversity, including human adversity, as fuel. His enemies gave him something his friends never could: a reason to be sharper, clearer, more precise in his thinking. This is the full circle of Stoic practice. You don't need to like your enemies. You don't need to forgive them or befriend them or pretend the conflict isn't real. You need to extract the signal from the noise they're generating. Ask 3 questions. What are they seeing that I'm not? What does their opposition reveal about my actual position in the world? And what would the strongest version of me do with this information? Answer those 3 questions honestly, and your enemy has just handed you a map. Here's what we covered. 1. Your enemies are doing psychological work on you that your friends won't do, and the intelligence they generate is more accurate, not less. 2. Criticism from someone with no reason to protect you is cleaner data than praise from someone who loves you. Use it. 3. The man with no enemies has made no real choices. Opposition is proof of direction, not proof of failure. Take those 3 ideas and sit with them this week. Not to make peace with people who've wronged you. To get smarter about what they're showing you. If this resonated, if some part of you recognized something true in it, subscribe. We drop one of these every Tuesday and Friday. No filler, no motivation poster quotes, just ideas that actually hold up when things get hard. Hit the bell so you don't miss it. And if there's someone in your life who needs to hear this, send it to them. That's the whole point.